Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu. Innal hamdanillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Muhammad Kamrul Hussain, Department of Business Administration, Metropolitan University, Sylhet. Welcome to my virtual classroom, MKA Classroom. Now let's start today's video tutorial. Today we will talk about a very important topic, and which topic is widely discussed, severely discussed in the worldwide. And I will show you a image. From this image, can you imagine what type of topic we are going to discuss? Here is the topic. Here has a company, ABC Limited Company, sells its product taka 20 or $20. Stockholders raised price from 20 taka to 22 taka. As a result, some customers stop buying product and few were disappointed in product quality. That is the matter. So, whenever the product price was 20 taka or $20, ABC Limited sells that product to the customers, but stockholders raised its price by $2. As a result, some customers stopped buying the product, and few were disappointed in product quality, also damaged the product quality. So, this resulted in agency problem between stockholders and customers of the company. Yes, you are talking right, you are thinking right, that we are going to discuss today agency problem. So, you can see another picture. Here you can see there has a relationship between principal and agent. You know it. All the managers are appointed by the board of directors or stockholders or shareholders. They are appointed by managers, but whenever these managers working at their own benefit, then create actually a conflict, and this conflict actually called agency problem. So, here you see principals, that means who are the owner of the company, delegates authority to agent, and agent acts and makes decisions for their company, but between these two parties can create a conflict of interest. This is agency problem. Yes, we are going today agency problem or agency theory. Simply the conflict between principal and agent. So, we know that agent agent one side, agent another side, shareholders and agent. There are two sides. One is principal side, another is agency or managers. Or principals who are the owner of the company. So, this manager has a right, or manager has the authority to do something for the welfare of the company. And whenever this manager work on his own purpose, his own benefit, then they create a conflict. Conflict create to the principal. This conflict actually called agency problem. This is actually agency problem. So, we can see that the agency problem can be better defined as a conflict taking place when agents who are entrusted with the responsibility of looking after the interest of the principals choose to use the power or authority for the personal benefit. And in corporate finance, it can be explained as a conflict of interest and taking place between the management of a company and its stakeholders. That is the agency problem. And financial managers are viewed as the agent. It is clearly, I have told that most financial managers would agree with the goal of owners' wealth maximizations, but whenever they work for their own benefit, then create this problem. So, we can see the several scholars view. C.P. Jones has said that agency problem is the potential conflict between principals, that means shareholders, and agents, the managers. Presley Brigham said that an agency problem is a potential conflict of interest that can be arise between a principal and an agent. Lauren Jack Gitman: the agency problem is the likelihood that managers may place personal goals ahead of the corporate goals. So, here Lauren Jack Gitman makes very clear that. So, the agents or managers has the responsibility to work for the welfare of the company, but whenever this managers works for his own benefit, then create a conflict between agent and principal, that means managers and shareholders. And this conflict actually agency problem. Now, we will see types of agency problem. So, basically three types of agency problem. One is stakeholders versus managers, stakeholder versus creditors, and stakeholders versus other stakeholders. These three types of agency problem we have. First one, stakeholders versus managers. That is the first agency problem we have. That means principal and manager, conflict between managers and principals. In the large company, they are need to hire managers from the outside, but in a small company, no need to hire special managers or special employees who has the special knowledge. But in the large company or large institutions has to hire suitable persons from the outside, then there create a problem. If that hired person or if that managers sometimes are not working on the goal of that firm, sometimes it may hamper their goal, sometimes it may create the interest of that firm's stockholders to that managers. This type of problem is called the agency problem of stockholders and managers. Later on we will see stockholders versus creditors, stockholders versus creditors. Sometimes the company prefer for investment in the risky project. So then they are created this type of problem. If this project is too risky, then the creditors or bondholders have some problems with the with that company, with the stockholders, with that creditors, because if the project is destroyed or if the project is sink, then the problem is create. That is, then the problem is create the agency problem, that is called the stockholders and creditors problem. Because if the project become loose, the bondholders are also going to lose their fund. So there is a create problem, conflict of interest. Another is last type is stockholders versus other stockholders. So it is very simple that. So the stockholders of a company may have a conflict of interest with other stakeholders like customers, employees, societies and communities. For example, employees might be asking for a hike in their salaries, who is if rejected by the stockholders or shareholders, then there are probabilities of agency problem to take place. So these are the three types of agency problem. Then this can be very easily understood by this example that here we see the conflict interest, that the toothpaste of that ABC company's toothpaste are selling 20 taka. It is well known to the market and customers take it easily to purchase that toothpaste by 20 taka, but suddenly price is hiked by $2 or 2 taka. Then create some problems that the customers are stop buying the product, that is customer disappointed of that product quality. So there has created the agency problem, stakeholders and customers, that we are talking about the last topic. As a result, it creates agency problem with stakeholders and that company. Now, we will see the causes of agency problem. Your mind has a question why these agency problem arise. Where we are talking about the conflict between agent and principal, and you have a question in your mind why this problem is arise. So, that is the causes of agency problem. It may arise different causes, various causes for arising this agency problem. So, this cause differ from the positions of an individual in the company. It may create the position holder. The root cause of this problem is that same in all cases that are mismatch or conflict of interest. When the agent of the stockholders clashes with the other groups, then the agency problem is definitely going to take place. That means agenda should be clashes. In the case of employees, the reason would be failure of stockholders to meet employees' expectations with the respect of salary, incentives, working hours, then create the agency problem. That is, employees sometimes demand more salaries or wages or working hours, etc., etc. But if the shareholders or stockholders refuse to meet up their demand, then they create the problem, conflict of interest. In the case of customers, the cause would be the failure of stockholders to meet the customers' expectations, like sale of poor quality goods. That customers are getting the goods whose quality are poor, high price but low quality, poor supply, high pricing, etc., etc. That is the conflict between other shareholders and other shareholders, and in previously we are talking about conflict between shareholders and managers. In the case of management, the causes of agency problems could be the misalignment of goals, separation of ownership and management, etc., etc. Actually, these are the key causes. These are the key causes. Number one cause is employees' expectations, employees' expectations. So, if do not fulfill the employees' expectation, then they create the agency problem. Customers' expectations, if that are not fulfilled, then create the problem. Management expectations or management misalignment. So, X is suitable for that work, but X is appointed for the other purposes. So, that is the misalignment. So, there may create the dissatisfactions of the employees or management, or there may create the dissatisfaction of the customers, and in this way this agency problem arise. Now, we are talking about solution of this agency problem. So, we are seeing that what is agency problem, why this agency problem arise, and now we are going to look or see how we resolve these agency problem or solution of this agency problem. This agency problem can be solved by market forces and agency cost. This market force act to minimize agency problem again in the two ways. One is major shareholders and another is threat to take over. So, major shareholders, to exercise the major shareholders legal voting rights, the large institutional shareholders communicate with an expert pressure one corporate management to perform or face replacement, that is the major shareholders. So, to exercise the major shareholders legal voting rights, that means who has the large portion of shares of that institutions, they have to provide the voting right, have to consider their vote or voting right. Institutional, it may be the institutional shareholders, to communicate with an expert pressure one. So, that can be communicate with the institutional shareholders. And threat of takeover. The constant threat of a takeover would motivate management to act in the best interest of the owners, despite the fact that techniques are available to define against a threat takeover. Threat of takeover, not takeover. Takeover means whenever one company takes the another company with the create pressure. So, here has said that threat to takeover, that means the provide to take over that company by the another company, then create the resolving this problem. So, it has provide to threat, that means X company will take over the Y company. Y company has a agency problem. Then whenever this threat are coming to Y company, then Y company's agency problem is automatically resolving, because if the X take over the Y company, then Y company's management will be dissolutions, or can be employees can be rejected from that company. So, there may be created the solutions. That's our telling in here, that the constant threat of a takeover would be motivate management. This threat can motivate the management to act in the best interest of that company's. Management will work carefully for the interest of that company. Then solution is, another solution is agency cost. To minimize the agency problem, the shareholders cost bears, that cost is called agency cost. The cost borne by stockholders to minimize this agency problem is called agency cost. Agency cost arise by shareholders to prevent or minimize agency problems and to work towards the maximization of the shareholders' wealth. To minimize agency problem, the owners have to incur monitoring expenditures, bonding expenditures, opportunity cost, and number 4, structuring expenditures. So, these 4 types of cost can be borne by shareholders to minimize the agency problem, and these 4 types of cost are called agency cost. Now, first one, monitoring expenditures. Monitoring expenditure, monitoring outlays relate to payment for audit and control procedures to ensure that managerial behavior is turned to actions and tend to be in the best interest of the shareholders. So, it should be audit, you know, the audit firm or audited accounts are audited. So, here is a cost related which is borne by the stockholders. This cost is called the monitoring expenditure cost. Another is bonding expenditures. So, the firm pays to obtain a fidelity bond from a third party bonding company to the effect that the latter will compensate the former up to a specified amount for the financial losses caused by the dishonest act of managers, that is the bonding expenditures. The cost caused by the dishonest managers. Then another is opportunity cost. So, such cost result from the inability of large companies from responding to the new opportunities. The management may face difficulties in seizing upon profitable investment opportunities quickly. Then last one is structuring expenditure. The most popular and powerful and expensive method is to structure management compensation to correspond with share price maximizations. The objective is to give managers incentives to act in the best interest of the owners. The 2 key types of compensation plans. One is incentive plans, another is performance plan. Incentive plans. The most popular incentive plan is to granting a stock option to managers. These options allow managers to purchase a stock. If the market price rises, managers will be rewarded. So, managers can get profit. So, that is why manager will act very nicely for the purpose of the company. Then performance plans. The forms of performance based compensations are cash bonus, cash payments tied to the achievement of certain performance goal. So, these are the very popular incentives plan, that is, if you perform well, you get more bonuses, more cash, more salaries. So, Here is also included the promotion. So, if you do well, you will be the promoted. Then the employees will work for the company's promotion. Promotion will help for the better performance of the companies, and sometimes hike the salary. So, there is for these reasons there has the salary structure, and which is gradually increasing year by year. That is a hike salary. Sometimes hike salary can resolve the agency problem, and sometimes the provide the promotion for the employees, resolve the agency problem. In this way, actually agency problem can be minimized. So, one is market forces, another is agency cost. So, we are discussing here. So, agency problems can be reduced by agency cost, monitoring expenditures, bonding expenditures, opportunity cost, and structuring expenditures. In the structuring expenditure, incentives plans, performance plans, promotions, then hike the salary, etc., etc. So, in this way there can be minimized the agency problem. These are the solutions of agency problem. So, in here we are try to learning that what is agency problem, why the agency problem arise, what are the types of agency problem, and why this agency problem arise, and how we minimize this agency problem. This all about today. Stay home, stay safe, try to maintain a safe social distance, try to wash your hands frequently in a day. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaika. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.